All right, we're back with another episode of the Critics Collective. I am honored to have Lolo, Big J, and my beautiful fiance Jessica with me as we are here to review another holiday movie. This one is a dark comedy starring Jack Black, and it's called Dear Santa. It's available on Paramount Plus, and it may be available on some other digital platforms, but it is available on Paramount Plus. Now, before we get into that, though, I want to ask you guys, if you enjoy the content that we are giving you, please hit that thumbs up, subscribe button, and the alert button. Every interaction helps the page grow. You guys see how I focused my words there and make sure I didn't mess that up?
So good.
Yeah, thank you. All right. So, the synopsis for Dear Santa, starring Jack Black, is when a young boy mails his Christmas wish list to Santa with one crucial spelling error, a devilish Jack Black arrives to wreak havoc on the holidays. I think that's pretty fair. Synopsis. But before we really get into it, I want to showcase. I want to do this here. I want to showcase Lolo. What you're wearing here. I need that to be
Front and center.
Yes, front and center for sure. I love it. We're gonna.
I'm so jealous.
$4 at Michael's.
Okay, next year.
Next year we'll be ready.
We'll be ready.
Lolo's out here living the dream.
I know.
All right, Lolo. So I'm going to start with you. What was your initial impression when you came across this movie?
I think that Jack Black has not had a good year this year. And so what better to showcase him as the devil? I mean, he's part of Tenacious D. He sings about the devil. It sounds like a role made for him. I was tepid about this one just because Bobby Farrelly is the director. I do not have a great track record with liking the Farrelly brother movies. I think that they're all pretty mean-spirited. And so knowing that, I think my response going in was just like, it could be good. It could be bad, but let's see how it goes. I have faith in Jack Black. Maybe this is the thing that's going to turn his year around because he's had a very bad year.
Absolutely. I totally get that. How about you, Big J? Your initial impression?
Yeah, I mean, I had some hopes for this because I do like Jack Black in a lot of things. I'm a little more hit or miss on the Farrelly, and this is only one Farrelly brother. It's not really the Farrelly brothers. It's one Farrelly and the non-Oscar winning Farrelly. I think this Farrelly is the guy who makes all the crude jokes, in the movies. Like, they're all his idea, because this is very much in line with a lot of the other stuff they've done. But prior to this, the Dumb and Dumber type stuff, But I had some hopes. It's a Christmas movie, usually pretty forgiving of them, and with Jack Black. So I was hoping that it would be at least fun and cute, maybe like a Home Alone-ish type of, not brilliant, but at least entertaining, something like that.
No, I'm with you. I'm actually, I when I came across this, I thought, well, I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't gonna watch it until you guys told me you was.
I don't blame you.
I saw it and I was like, well, and my initial impression was like, this is probably the perfect role for Jack Black. This allows him to be full on Jack Black. So I was like, okay, cool. But I was thinking I wasn't gonna watch it. But then when you guys said you did watch it, I was like, well, then we have to watch it so we can review it. How about you? What was your initial impression?
Yeah, similar. I did think the premise looked very unique and funny. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go in hoping that, yes, it's going to give us the humor that we want, that we love from Jack Black, but also give us some of those heartfelt moments. So I was hopeful of that.
We were all hopeful. So I'm almost scared to ask, but I'm going to start with you, Lolo.
Is that based on what I said before we press record?
Yes, please let me know how you felt about this.
Okay, I have exactly 2 highs. One, there's one joke within the first 10 minutes that's about Einstein. That made me laugh out loud. Like
Absolutely.
truly, like slap my thigh. Ha ha! A big guffaw. And then the second is Jack Black is serviceable. I think that if this had been rated R, I know that it's supposed to be for kids, but I think that if it had been rated R, it would have been much more successful. And then the lows, pretty much everything else. My thoughts about especially Bobby Farrelly, it seems like they hire actors with disabilities specifically so they can turn around and make fun of people with disabilities. And I don't like that. I've never liked that. And I am not a sensitive person. I love crude humor. I think crude humor is our #1 letterboxed, like, watched every year. We love crude humor. I love raunchy cursing, whatever, but their brand of humor is just so mean and so like unforgiving. There is a character in this movie and he has very large teeth, and the message that gets sent there, and I don't want to spoil too much, but it's like, if you have an imperfection or a disability, you're not okay unless you look like the typical standard of beauty. And that does not jive with my ethos, man. Not cool. I don't like it. There is a cameo later on in the movie that's okay too, which I guess if you go to IMDb, Josh said that gets spoiled if you look at the picture. So maybe don't do that if you want to watch this one. But yeah, overall, it's just really mean and very negative. And I, like Jessica said, I like the premise. I think it's unique. And I think that there is a little bit of good with the kid and what he tries to do with his like letter and the wishes thing. But overall, I didn't love this one so much. I think that if the Farrelly brothers, especially Bobby, put out another movie, maybe don't do that. Don't do it anymore. Maybe try a different job.
It's like
Time to go to greener pastures.
just
You
walk
had
away
your time.
altogether. Just walk away
I
altogether.
certainly won't watch it.
All
Only
right.
under duress.
I feel you. I feel you, Jessica. Why don't you tell me how did you feel about this movie?
I don't know how to top that. That was pretty good. For me, the main character Liam, I think was played by, I think his name is Robert Timothy Smith, if I remember correctly. I did enjoy his performance. I thought any kid that can go along with Jack Black and keep up with him is very impressive. So that was a nice surprise to kind of see their chemistry back and forth. And of course, yeah, I do love Jack Black's, his signature flair, his crazy humor of his dancing and singing and scatting and the scroodly doo. Like, I'm here for those moments. I too also really enjoyed the Einstein joke. That was hilarious.
Yes.
So those are like pretty much the highs for me. The lows, the parents were just written as very unlikable characters. I was like, what is happening? It was very distracting from the story for me. I don't want to give too much away, but there's kind of revelation of like what's causing them to have so many arguments during the movie, but it's kind of like an hour into the film. And at that point I was like, okay, I get that you're trying to provide some context for us, but it's a little too late. And I just never got to a place where I found them likable or relatable. And I was kind of disappointed because I do like the actress who played Liam's mom. I cannot think of her name right now, from Ginny and Georgia. Brianne Howie, I think is that her name. So I wanted her to have a better script because I do like her as an actress. And the other big low for me was just a lot of the noticeable plot holes, inconsistent rules, where I was like, this was established earlier. And then for me, just the ending, I was like, well, alrighty then. So that's kind of how I felt.
Yes, and that actually was something that it slipped past me. And then she brought it up and we went back and watched the beginning. I was like, I don't know if there were any clear-cut rules about this. And then we went back and watched the scene, and there was, and I was like, oh, this is killer. This is killer. So Big J, tell me how you felt about it.
For highs, I think Jack Black is fine. There are some moments that I found humorous here and there. I think the idea behind it has a message. The main message of the movie is about altruism and stuff like that, doing things for other people. I think that's one of the big points of the movie, though I think a lot of it gets wrong. A lot of the humor in the movie relies on bullying type stuff. So it kind of hurts its own message at the same time when it tries to deliver it. Um, but beyond that, the lows are probably a lot more. There's also a big Post Malone scene that was fine. It was fun enough, but I didn't mind it. It was actually entertaining. Um, Beyond that, I think a lot of it is kind of at times very mean. I think she thought it was a little bit more mean spirited than I did at times, but it is mean at times. And as Jessica said, it's the thing that the parents did. They were like way off, like really mean at like sometimes, especially the dad. And there's a line in the movie where Molly's like, "Oh, you're a good father," and I was like, "Is he?" No,
Is
like,
he?
no, good father. I don't know about that.
I
It
was
was
the
a
same
I
way.
was a real question. It was like she was excusing his very poor behavior towards his son because from what we've seen up to that point, he was absolutely not a good father. By the end, I think he kind of changes his tune, but up to that point, no, very not a good father. Um, but beyond that, the kid is okay. I don't mind the kids in this movie. All the kids are fine. They're not that annoying. Some movies with some kids the kids can be really grating, and in this one they're not. They're okay, and they're cute, and they do their thing, and it's fun. But I do like the costume and makeup work too. I like the way Jack Black looks when he pops up with his horns and the little goat legs and stuff like that. I like the way he looks like that. So all that is fine. But I think the message fails. I think it fails on a lot of points, and it's a little too bully heavy for me in some of the aspects, and it kind of loses its spirit. There's also a thing towards the end where it's like, oh, you can do whatever you want now. It's like you could, and I was like, you know, that was kind of a problem for me too. It's like, oh, the only reason he didn't act that way is because he was going to get punished or something. He also lies a lot for a kid who's supposed to be really good. He lies to his parents for no reason and about stupid stuff. And it's like he's afraid. He's like, oh, I have a friend, and he's got this thing about him. It's like, okay, why? That's like such an unnecessary lie. But beyond that, I did. I wouldn't say I enjoyed this movie, but I don't think I hated it quite as much as Lolo did.
I guess.
Also, what's with Post Malone too? That was one other thing. Like, it's like in the pitch meeting, they were like, "You can do whatever you want. It has to be Christmas. Jack Black's got to star as whatever Dares Santa," and then like Post Malone has to be in it for a third of the movie for some
It's also
reason.
kind of a one joke. Like it's a one joke premise too. It's like it's not a bad premise, but it is certainly a one joke premise.
Which they were writing that a little bit too long. It went way longer than it should have. It definitely went way longer than it should have. And I have to agree with everything you guys said. The lies that were coming out and some of the things that they were harping on, it was like you said, it was unnecessary. And then some of it was still, like trying to play on people's sympathy by saying my friend has this or that. I was really bothered by it. And there was, and not that I'm a great liar, but there was so many moments where I was like, why wouldn't he just tell this lie? It's a lot simpler. It's a lot easier, And they were just stacking them up, and even I don't want to spoil, but there was a moment where the kid shows up to help his friend, and the lie that they told there at that hour, and it was just so ridiculous, and I was just like, he could have just said, hey, he promised that he would accompany me to this Post Malone concert, and then they would have been like, oh yeah, your situation, you can do whatever you want. That would have been better than saying where they did say they were going. I was like, all right, this is getting ridiculous. So I don't want to spoil it, but
also bad parenting.
Yeah, it just they look to a third party for his approval on what should we do. Like, You're the parents. I'm yelling at the TV. So yeah, this movie definitely is, especially the way everything kind of unfolded, and it the parents, the father becoming something that we never got a glimpse of before, and you know, not that I wanted a big backstory with them, but you gotta have, like, if you're gonna give us that, you gotta kind of, you know, give us little glimpses to show us that person's capable of that. And I didn't feel they did that. And then, so as much as I agree with Lolo, if it was rated R, I think it probably would have served it better, but it would still need to tone down on the slapstick, the bullying. I am not a big fan of fart jokes, farting sounds. He didn't do it often. They just did it a couple times, but I was just like, why can't we just go with the witty humor? You know, one of my favorite Jack Black films, which everybody hates, is Nacho Libre. I felt like it was more about the witty banter to me, than it was about, you know, the slapstick or the bullying or whatever to that effect. But I was hoping we would get that. I thought this was the perfect role for him to really just have some fun with it. And I was also hoping that the way that the situation went was going to offer us some kind of a real heartwarming message. And what they gave us was like, okay, that's cool, but it didn't hit home like it should have. It did. And I don't want to spoil. All right. So the more I talk, the more I feel like I'm gonna just start spoiling. So we're gonna
Give it away now.
yeah. All right. So let's go ahead and rate this. In Critics Collective fashion, we are going to give it accolades. And the Critics Collective accolades, we give out 5. 5 being excellent, meaning that it was a must-watch, highly recommended for all viewers. 4 accolades is good, worth watching, but has notable flaws. 3 accolades, average, some enjoyable moments, but lacks significant impact. 2 accolades, below average, some redeeming qualities, but generally disappointing. 1 accolade, poor quality, not recommended. 0 accolades, horrible, absolute trash, like Venom, The Last Dance. I promise I will try to get away from that. I promise. So, Big J, let's start with you. How many accolades?
I gave it 2. It's below average. Has some things that are okay, but overall disappointing for me, especially for a Jack Black film.
Yeah, I hear you on that one. Jessica, how many accolades are you giving it?
I know. Honestly, I was gonna go 2, and then after we had this discussion, I was like, you know what? Yeah, you're right. It's getting a 1.
Lolo's laugh. Lolo's laugh. It's like yes.
You brought me to the dark side, which is the correct side. I was like, yeah.
So go ahead, Lolo. Tell me how many accolades.
Yeah, this one, you know, I could say 2, but I don't want to, so it's going to get a 1. I give it a 1 for the Einstein joke, but why? Bobby Farrelly stop working challenge.
I'm sorry.
Bye.
It was like I could have given you credit for that, but everything else just pulled the rug out from under me. And I'm not gonna lie. I was at a 2 also until she pointed out the big plot hole in the story. You know, when there was rules that were established. There was a rule that was said, and in my opinion, it was obliterated. When she pointed it out, I was like, it's not worse than Venom though. So
There's that.
There is that.
there is that. All right. So if you guys got this far and you got a chance to watch the movie, let us know how many accolades you're gonna give it in the comments. Let us know if you actually appreciate this humor or not. We want to have this discussion with you and interact with you. Also, if you do like this video and all the content we've been giving you, make sure you hit that thumbs up, subscribe button, alert button, join the collective community. Every interaction helps the page grow. All right, so this was Dear Santa, which is available now on Paramount Plus, and it may be also available on other platforms. I am Legacy Lingo. This is my beautiful fiance, Jessica, and I have Lolo and Big J, and we will see you guys on the next one.